Davao City Mayor, like Duterte is like, isn't he like
Yeah, we
the nephew, or is he the
no
son? He's the son
the current the what do you mean?
because like, isn't it
The
Davao City like I don't know his first name, but I know he's like a relative of
uh
the President
he,
Duterte.
he, he's the son.
Oh, he's the son. Okay, no.
He was supposed to be the vice mayor, but then you know Duterte run for mayor, right? And he won the elections, but then he couldn't be able to like do his job as a mayor because he's currently in
He's in
Hague.
the Hague. Yeah,
So his son was the vice mayor, like stepped in.
kind of like these like family legacies and politicians, right? Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking about this last time a little bit. Yeah, it's interesting. So what's
It's
the deal? Like, is Sarah Duterte his wife then, or
no, his sister.
oh, his sister?
Yeah.
And she became vice president. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole um political circus to
Yeah,
say.
dude, it seems
It's
a little bit.
I'm a little bit on the fence actually talking about this because you know how you know emotional and
People get
fanatic
yeah.
most of yeah. I've been thinking about this like the whole time if we really want to talk about this, but it's like a good thing to talk about actually in
Yeah.
relation to the political climate here in the Philippines. Also, it these things actually affect the economy also because when just one family runs the whole thing, it depends actually on how they run, and of course, not all the time that the people from political dynasties would really like do a good job when they're running because most of the time they're just like um, a little bit of nepotism will happen and sometimes these people actually are not really good for the job kinda.
Right, just because like the whoever was the first one may or may not be like a good leader doesn't mean their
Yeah.
children will necessarily learn the exact skills they need to then also lead. Correct? Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying. Hello.
Hi, how are you? Like
Do
for
you have a
example.
YouTube as well?
Yeah,
Oh, it says YT at the end. I'm like, is this their YouTube as well?
yeah, I
Sorry, go
think.
ahead.
Hi guys, hi Anesh,
Hello.
thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you
we're
so much. We greatly appreciate it.
we're just I think we're kind of celebrating because the channel got monetized and I hope that
Yeah,
it will like get revenues. I don't know if you wanted to like send some gems, it's fine also, but it's no pressure, of course.
yeah.
Okay,
And be sure to
and
subscribe to my channel as well.
yeah, you will
I
be
need
seeing
lots of
his
subscribers
channel.
still.
Yeah, it will be. Oh, usually we just talk about anything under the sun. Currently, we're planning actually to talk about politics, but I'm kind of on the fence because it's a topic
Hot
that
button
it's
issue.
hard. Yeah, it's a polarizing topic, and everyone has his own side, so it's just really hard actually to talk about. But we try to be a little bit neutral.
Yeah,
Yeah,
neutral. It's good to be unbiased as best you can. I think
yeah,
at that point it's safe to talk about politics because you're not really taking a side necessarily, and then people can come to
and
their own conclusions. You just
and of
present the
course
information.
we try to come with an open mind to try to understand the sides of some other sides also. And I don't
Hmm.
know how things will happen, but I think it's regarding political dynasties. Actually, most of these people who are part of it, especially like the later parts of the later people who are part of the political dynasties. These are people who haven't actually experienced the kind of life already that the masses have experienced, since like they have already like the glitz and the glamour of politics. They will not be thinking about poverty already because they
Yeah,
haven't experienced
never
it
experienced.
already.
Yeah,
And
I
that's why
completely understand.
it bugs me when there are politicians actually who are assigned to like urban projects, maybe transportation, because or public
Maybe they've never
transportation,
taken it.
because yeah, how will they understand actually the how hard it is to do public commute when you haven't really experienced it? So it doesn't make sense. It's not adding up, at least for me.
Right, they don't have a good perception of what, the common person has to go through every day to get to their work through the
Hmm.
commute system. They might
Yeah.
have, like, all the people who do, like, the numbers and things like that, but that's not really, like, an on-ground level of understanding of what it is to do that. I get you. There's this meme in America that, of, like, Hillary Clinton going into, like, a
Mm.
normal apartment, and there's, like, house plants in the sink, and she just, like, got this face on her, you know what I mean? Which is really funny to me, but it just goes to show that, like, those dynasties kinda do have, like, a loss of perception just because they just haven't experienced it before, which is fair, but, it does, make things more difficult to, then create proper policy for everybody.
I thank you. We're really kind of excited about it because the main goal of the monetization is actually to be able to like do some other things. On the
Yeah,
first months and days that I've been doing it, I'm not really expecting anything, so I'm not really like doing a lot of things for this channel. I just take videos, but when you're monetized, it gives you like
a boost.
another and yeah, like uh, yeah, it's kind of exciting actually.
It is. I'm
and of
very happy
course
for you, dude.
and of course Dorian is like part of it, like a big part of this channel actually. And we have subscribers actually from doing the live, and I really appreciate that also. And of course we have some plans in the future also if this gets monetized a lot actually. We have plans actually to like go around the Philippines maybe.
Mhm.
If we have the
Philippines, wherever
budgets.
we can.
Yeah. And of course what I like about Dorian when we were traveling actually is like it's fine actually trying different things, even like the disgusting food maybe.
Hey, man, I don't ca most of the stuff was good. For me, like, the only thing that really got me was, like, balut, and
Hmm.
that was more like a mental perception thing because it didn't
Yeah,
taste bad, it was just,
like
like, the
the
idea
idea,
of it, you know?
the idea.
Yeah,
um
so
just polarizing. I think most Filipinos don't really like balut also, some of the Filipinos I think,
yeah,
because it looks disgusting to be honest. I don't know
that's
about you.
that's that's the thing, you, like, look at it if you, like, think about it too much, that's when it gets bad, but, otherwise, it doesn't really taste like anything to me,
Hmm.
um, it really
You think
doesn't, I
Don't you think it tastes like chicken soup or something? I don't know.
like, kind of. I don't know, it didn't really to me, it, like, was kind of like a very muted flavor.
Mm-hmm.
There was, like, some flavor, but not really much. It was rather chewy, but,
Yeah, there's a
that was the
part that
thing.
is really rubbery. I think it's on the bottom part. I think it's
Mhm,
like a
that's what I mean.
almost a cartilage. I don't know.
Yeah. See, that was, like, up until, like, once you start chewing that, that's when I think it starts to bother me. I'm like, "Oh,
Hmm.
oh." Then I start thinking about it, because you really gotta chew it. You're like, "Ugh, what am I chewing?" You know? But otherwise, it's totally fine. It's not like a gross flavor, so, eh.
Yeah, we're currently talking about the politics here in the Philippines. Like specifically the political dynasties in the Philippines. I can One negative thing also about the political dynasty is that when kind of they're creating already an empire, most of the constituents will be blinded already um, by it. That they will
Yeah.
not be able to see the bad things that these politicians will do, and that's also irritating. But because they will continue depending a person without like putting in consideration actually like the negativities of how they run things in their area. if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely, like, the populace kind of gets, like, even if
Mm,
it's, like, they like the first one, then they'll like the
mm,
second one, and it creates, like, a kind of like an echo chamber for all the
mm,
individuals involved, like, all the constituents involved, and then they just kind of feed off each other and everything else. So if they like the one like Duterte like the father, now they like, the
mm.
son, Davo, and then the VP, Sarah, and, obviously the vice presidency and stuff like that. So I completely see that. So, like, when someone tries to bring in something negative, they kinda it doesn't get through, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that completely. Yeah, I think it happens here as well. Like I was saying, it's like we have like lots of political polarization and stuff. So,
Hi.
hello.
Thank you for watching our live. We're currently talking about politics. It's I'm kind of happy actually talking about this because especially here in the Philippines, the political climate is really chaotic. Kinda. We're 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 planning actually to do a run through of how politics happened after the last presidential elections and how everything is happening now in the Philippines. Um, it's really hard. We'll go through it for sure. But if you have some other topics also that you want to talk about,
Feel free to drop them in
we
the
are we are
comments
open
here.
to anything. It
Yeah.
might most of the you know most of the ideas that we might talk about with other topics may not be true also. So we're sorry for the misinformation. We're not
Yeah, I
saying
try to be
also
good
that
about it.
we're going to like talk about like anything and everything that we're going to talk about here is like perfect. We'll just like say whatever what's on our mind. So just like take it with a grain
Bear
of
with us.
salt.
Yeah, you got to do your own research as much as possible. It's good to stay informed, right?
I kind of printed.
Oh, you were ready already. I should have printed off a docket too, dude. I did not. Oh my gosh. Do you think the
It's
other
fine.
political climates are, like, similar to your countries as well right now, at least in, the South Pacific and everything else?
Yes, we are. One moment, Dory. Yeah, we are in
Yep.
a different time zones. I am in Manila, and Dorian is in somewhere in Michigan. Hi
Yeah, it's
guys,
a
thank you for
different time zone.
watching. We really appreciate
Yeah. Thank you so much.
it. And of course, if you have time, please follow Dorian's channel. You can see his channel. Most of the time, his channel is tagged in all our live streams, previous live streams.
Mhm.
Uh, Going on, Dorian, what did you mention
Oh,
earlier?
I was just curious if you think that the
Mm,
political climate in other countries are, like, relatively similar right now, or at least in the South Pacific is, like, like Indonesia or Thailand or Vietnam, maybe Japan even, you know? Do you think that the
I,
political climates are similar in a way, or maybe not so much with the dynasties, but, like, just chaotic, I suppose?
I think the one. Hi guys. Hi.
Hello?
I I can't really read the name. Can you read the name, Dorian? I don't want to like butcher the name actually. He's from the
To
US and I'm
Toiso
in the Philippines.
Mototo. Toiso Mototo? Is that right? I
Uh,
don't know.
I think you're butchering the name. I'm just kidding. Anyway,
Yeah, I probably am. I really can't say for sure. I'm breaking it
I
into threes here. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That was the thing. Anyway,
I can't I can't even pinpoint where country that name comes from. Actually, it's so hard also. Anyway,
it seems like some kind of African, like a Swahili
yeah.
almost, but I don't know for sure. Paul, thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, I totally agree. Actually, I don't really like
Dynasties are bad.
political dynasties. Yeah. I think we're on a different level right now when it comes to political dynasties. So I don't think there's something that is similar around Asia. we are they are like pushing the political dynasties here to the highest level, I think. So that's really concerning, to the point actually that even the constituents of these people from political dynasties doesn't really care if it's already affecting the economy. They would still vote for them. It's
Yes,
fanaticism actually.
yeah, that's not good. I think that yeah, it's obviously bad. It's very reminiscent of like monarchies essentially,
Hmm.
which is not a good thing. We know this from history, right? That like total authority of one individual does not always equate to a proper ruling of the country or like, you know what I mean, the state that it has. Um, and that's why we don't really have monarchies anymore. I think there's maybe 5 in the world or something, and they're like all small.
Yeah.
I think like
Brunei.
the what it Brunei, what is it? The pri like, God, what is it? The guy from France. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He always wears the sunglasses, like the prime minister or president or whatever of
Mm-hmm.
France. Anyway, Macron. Anyway, yeah, Macron. He's like a prince of some place,
Mm-hmm.
technically, but I can't remember where it's at. But that's
He's,
like only in name. So
mm, he's from Samoa. Hello.
Samoa. Oh,
Oh, that's how you
oh.
pronounce it? Samoa? Samoa. I'm so bad at pronouncing names.
I think I don't know if that's how it's actually pronounced, but that's like the traditional
Yeah.
American way to say it, I guess. I don't know how else to, you know what I mean? It's just like Hawaii is how you say it, not
Yeah.
Hawaii,
Yeah.
but so like a lot of people don't say stuff right. I wouldn't
Yeah.
know for sure. I'm in the US and he is in the Philippines.
Yeah. I'm just glad actually we could reach like islands in the Pacific. It's
Yeah,
just
dude, it's
so,
cool.
yeah, the internet is such a fun thing actually when you're doing it right. I mean when you're using it right. You
Definitely. No,
could
it is amazing.
it could really like connect people. I wouldn't
Definitely.
imagine actually if we I don't know if we're really going to meet without the internet, Dorian. I mean, I've met Jason and you and like a traveling app, and because of that, I met you. It's just fun.
I'm not trying to make fun of your country, I promise. I promise. I hope I said it right.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, no. No, definitely not doing that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The so the dynasties things and oh
What?
well. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I said. But yeah, back to the topic at hand. Do you think that they're positioning people to help support the dynasty as well, or like do they have like particular constituent? They're not constituents, but fellow politicians that are building upon to help support them and keep their
uh,
people in power there. I don't know what you said either. You should
yeah,
apologize just to be safe
yeah.
here.
I'm sorry for that. I'm just trying to know whether I'm saying it the right way. Actually,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's one of those things that it's like when I say things wrong. You know what I mean? It's common. Yeah, I think that it's when you don't know, you don't know, right?
yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
And we can laugh at our mistakes. That's how
Mhm.
it is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's better to teach people to do it correctly if possible. You know what I mean? It's fine to correct people, right?
that's why
But
we're asking if
yeah,
we're like pronouncing it correctly. I think.
yeah.
Anyway, there are some political dynasties who does do the work, but most of them actually are not really doing it because how do you say it actually? Um,
Or yeah. So basically it helps to get like economic grants for different projects. Like we were talking about like the flood control before at one point and how like that
mm,
the kind of money sort of is gone, right? Is that
what?
kind of what you mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just can you repeat it? I'm stuck with the one he mentioned actually that you call shirts on Google my country Samoa. Samoa.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure there. Um, it's easy to get. I'm not sure. Yeah. What I was saying is like so basically they in their area monopolize like economic projects perhaps.
Hmm.
Is that kind of what you're trying to say? And then maybe
Yeah,
pass them to people they know and
yeah.
everything else like that. 'Cause we were talking about
We
flood control before.
yeah, yeah. We have I won't say the province. We have like one province here. Um, and these politicians have monopolized all the franchise actually. Like they have Jollibee and stuff. All the franchise of the Jollibee. Um, and the owner of the franchise is like the mayor of the town, and their family is like a
Oh,
political dynasty. So when you go to their province, you can't really find any McDonald's there because all of like the business permits were not or were rejected actually when they applied.
okay. So it's not even it's like they own all the businesses, and then
Yeah,
also are not allowing competition too.
this is the reason also for why the flood control happened because most of these politicians their families owns this construction companies. So they would award the projects actually to the companies that are owned by their families also. So it opens again um, for corruption. Currently
Yeah, no, definitely.
they're trying to pass a law actually to like to like eradicate political dynasties here in the Philippines. But I don't know if they're really going to do it because most of these politicians are all part of the political dynasties. Maybe they're just trying to like try to pass it, but they're not really like doing it.
Right. I I get what you're saying. Do you think that maybe some kind of like control mechanism on what they can own? Say like you're talking about the Jollibees and stuff like that. Do
Uh,
you think maybe some kind of measures where they can't own uh, business investments in the municipality that they work in might be beneficial? Because I know in our country, you can't be like the head of a company. Like Trump had to give his company away, and we can
uh,
debate whether that was effective and you know what I mean, him not doing corruption, but you know what I mean. Do you think something like
there,
that would help?
I think there's like a loophole. If you are like the mayor, then you can't like own anything, but you can actually have your family members to own any company. So what can we do?
Yeah,
There's no. I
right.
think it's big actually when it comes to like conflict of interest when it comes to this one also.
Oh, you watch me a lot? Well, thank you very much, dude. I really appreciate it. I promise you, my buddy here was not trying to offend you, and I hope you keep watching my videos. I'm hopefully going to be putting out a lot more soon of long form content, and I hope you enjoy it. I recently read this book that goes over Samoa just a little bit, not a lot, and if you want, I can do something like that at some point?
Ask away.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Do you wanna do you wanna like print a shirt? I mean, in the future, we're like, I was talking to
Oh, yeah.
David like I was talking to David like a few days ago, and he's trying to offer me his friends actually who does merch, and if you wanted to like have some shirts printed, then we can do it.
Yeah, no, I was definitely thinking about that, I looked
Ah,
into
yeah,
suppliers a lot, actually. Korea, oh, heck yeah, dude. The Charlie Kirk assassination. I
come.
think that any assassination of any individual is not appropriate, you know what I mean? Especially just when they're trying to have dialogue and stuff, and we can like, there's, like, arguments whether he crops things for, obviously his, benefit, you know what I mean? But everyone who does media is going to pick the best shots that put them in the best light. So I think that that is a bad argument, and that the murder of any person is probably not acceptable, assassination especially. So it's a sad day to see someone get killed for no reason.
Yeah,
Just because you don't agree with someone. That's why we're talking about stuff right now. Like, we're talking about the we're having dialogue about these dynasties and things like that, which is the right way to go, I think.
yeah.
I don't even
Dorian
have to
here
I'm
is
not even
from
gonna
the
say whether I
U.S.
like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, US and
Dorian,
Philippine.
yeah.
Does it have
Thank
a
you guys
hole or
for
a hole?
watching.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, going back actually, we have talked a few months ago about um Charlie Kirk actually, and
Yeah.
violence is never good.
Yeah, it hurts everyone in the conversation, whether it's the one side or the other, and, it just makes, the conversation rife for, misinformation and rhetoric. So I don't overly approve of it, you know what I mean? Because you want people to have that open dialogue so you can have truthful and accurate conversations about the things that you need to talk about. Oh, half English. Like English, like
Yeah,
American English or British English?
or Filipino English. Just kidding.
That could be too. There's l Oh my god, dude. There's, like, or Puerto Rican English?
Yeah.
I guess that, you know what I mean?
Do you think that you can when you hear someone who's foreign actually, can you like identify if someone is speaking like a Filipino English? Um, here for quite some time. We have like a different accent when we're talking, especially some
Yeah.
Filipinos.
I can
Come
even,
tell me
tell
that.
accents. I can even, tell the difference between, like, Americans' accents and stuff, and then, like, I can get, like, a Manchester accent, and then, like, obviously Scottish accents are pretty easy to tell.
Mhm.
Um, so I think I can tell the Filipino one a little bit. It's just, like, how consonants and stuff are said, certain consonants. I noticed
Yeah,
with,
because
Spanish
we
English,
you
it's like E and V.
and we have the Filipino language doesn't have like letter F, letter C,
Mhm.
and letter V. So you will really know like um I'm thinking of a word actually an English
Copy?
word. What?
Like, copy? Copy, like
Copy.
coffee? Yeah,
Yeah.
copy.
Refrigerator. You know, oh my God.
Yeah.
L- Listening to myself is so cringy. Hi, Sophia.
Hello,
Konnichiwa.
konnichiwa. Oh,
Oh,
what is it? Ohio. Ohio,
you
it's
you
morning for
you,
me.
you
Konbanwa for
wanna know?
him.
I wanna also know about your like opinion with Jeffrey Epstein. I was actually watching this.
Stephen
Remember that
what?
guy? Yeah. The CIA, I think. The
Yeah,
CIA
the
guy.
ex yeah, he went to prison and stuff. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's all over
He
media
kind
right now.
In one of his interviews he mentioned actually that Jeffrey Epstein might be actually
Mossad.
um yeah what do you call this one? Uh a spy from Israel.
Yeah, no, it's like a Mossad agent.
Mm,
I'm pretty sure Israel's intelligence service is called Mossad. We know a lot about Israel here in America, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's like a common thing. It might be true. It might be.
Mm,
It is kind of alarming all the connections he had and everything else. Like they said in that video you're talking about,
mm, yeah.
like they call it like access agent, right? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's possible. Um, but I think it's also possible that he would like either, an agent for anyone, like at that point when you have that many connections and you're
Mm,
not getting in trouble in your own country, like because he got out of a lot of trouble pretty easily here in this country, and that in itself would kind of make me lean towards like he has some kind of U.S. connection ties as well. But that's just me. I can't say for sure. I don't really know how all that stuff works. But it is when you have that many connections, it kind of makes you have a high potential for stuff like that, right? People are willing to tell you things, and you can blackmail them. Obviously, in his case. So
it's also hard actually to be on a specific side, whether you are from Israel or maybe Palestine, because at the end of the day, many innocents are like being killed on each other side. So it's really hard actually. The best way actually is to like make a dialogue, for
yeah,
peace, I think,
yeah,
because when
peace would
you're
be appropriate.
these people who are leading the countries actually sometimes it feels like they don't really care about the repercussions of what they're doing when innocent lives are at, at least being killed every day because of the war that they've started. No one's really a winner, I think.
No, no, not really. And unless you somehow have like manipulated some economic market and which is like, and now you're doing actual evil, right? Yeah, I
Mm,
agree with you. I I think that like the whole founding of Israel was maybe this like not super planned out well because it was all. I
mm,
mean, I'm not taking a side whether it should be there or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But I am going to say it was not well thought out. When you look at the division of the splits where like Palestinian land was supposed to be versus where Israeli land was supposed to be, I think that was
mm,
like pressed by like the British and stuff had a lot of say in how that was like all split up. You can look at the map and you'll see that there's like these islands of territory, and then like it looks like a mess, and it was I think that was what like really charged it for conflict in the first place, right? When you have like
yeah,
these pockets, and then like then all of a sudden you have like neighbors attacking for various reasons, and it causes you to push back. I can see the it's a long history, right? And at
yeah.
different points, it's different reasons why different things happen. But at
And
this point, we could come up with some kind of better solution, I think.
the UK has actually a bad reputation of like dividing countries. Look at what happened to India and Pakistan.
Yeah,
I think the one who divided the the India and Pakistan didn't even went literally to India when he divided the two countries also, and that's what
yeah.
one of the reasons why there's still some misunderstanding between the two countries, because like they divided actually a specific religion along like the borders.
Yeah, no, I remember, like, hearing about, maybe it's a temple or, like, an ancient city.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's I think India had or maybe it was Pakistan. One of them had claim to it kind of just
yeah,
because, like you said, the religion and
mm,
stuff like that, and they are very upset that that is not a part of their country, and,
yeah,
I can see that, but again, like, we go back to this whole dialogue thing, I think that
mm,
India and Pakistan could because it's really probably not that much territory around it
mm,
when you think of the grand scheme of things, like, they could come up with some kind of easement, you know what I mean? So at least the people that have, like, religious beliefs towards it could at least access that area, right? Some kind of a free travel agreement for those specific people to that
hello.
specific area. Hello?
Where in the Philippines are you from? Anyway, when like a specific country who doesn't really know like the culture of a country, who decides actually to like be the one to divide like a country, it's not a good idea most of the time. It would be better actually if they let Pakistan and India, or like Israel and maybe Palestine, to decide on their own than
Yeah,
meddle on
I
those
think
things.
I think that at this point with the Israel-Palestine thing, there's so much, like, animosity between the 2
Mm-hmm.
that would be difficult, and I think that brokering it with I don't think that it should be just one third party. I think it should be, like, maybe a board of, like, 7 to 13 different
Mm, yeah.
groups that all are very, like, informed on the topic, you know what I mean, either way.
Mm,
But, yeah, there definitely should be that normally, right? Because then you can ask the people at the fringes of the 2 country which
mm,
ones they like, the populace there, which they more align with, and for what
mm,
reasons, and you can make a more educated decision. Obviously, the heads of government always are gonna want more territory, right?
mm,
So, that I think that would pushes things in a direction that it shouldn't necessarily go. It should be more a localized thing
mm.
across the border, right? That way you don't get that collision as much. 'Cause it
And
just creates fuel.
even actually before even unifying the whole India after like the break of Pakistan and India was so hard actually for at least Gandhi and the team, because I think there are like a lot of princeless states who are like a little bit autonomous, so it was hard for them actually to ask every princeless state to like unify the whole India for like a time
Mhm.
also.
Yeah, no, I get that. I completely get that. I'm not as informed as I should be on all of the details, you know what I mean? But I like this
Mm,
guy saying I know that Pakistan and India can't go like, they do kind of have a serious hatred towards each other for various reasons, but I think that that is like like, again, that's probably like we were talking about, probably a created hatred due to
mm,
how the division was set up and everything else like that, and probably some historical stuff from way back, hundreds of years, as it often is, unfortunately, because of history.
Hi,
I think
Empress.
that
What part of the Philippines are you from? Sorry. Sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, it's
yeah.
all
No.
you.
I know. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's similar with, like, Bangladesh, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Kind of,
it's called East Pakistan before, right? Yeah, I think Bangladesh is like East Pakistan before, and I think it's also part of the bigger India before they were like divided also.
yeah, no, they were, and I just, like, I think that that one has, like, slightly better relations, though, but I don't know if that
Mm.
was, like, how that one was divided or anything like that from the country, and I really don't, but,
Even there's also a part of Bangladesh actually, who, part of India actually, who is like inside of uh, part of India who is uh inside Bangladesh. I think if you're going to like look at the map of Bangladesh and India, the border is kind of like so hard to understand.
oh, so there's, like, a little, a not autonomous zone almost, like, where it's both countries?
Enclave. enclave. Is that what you call? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's like one of those places I gotta visit at some point is India. I really would like to go there. Bangladesh
And
as well.
and speaking of division, Moldova and Romania.
Yeah, yeah. See that one. And then also even further, Transnistria as a chunk
Transnistria.
of Moldova. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that one's not so contentious. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like Romania wasn't super happy to have Moldova be removed at the beginning. However, later they were like, so not so much for Moldova rejoining Romania
Hmm.
because I think at one point there was talk of that. It's weird because in Romania there is actually a region called like Moldova, and then there you get the country that's a subsection of that.
Hmm.
But as they're trying to get into the EU, I think that like a lot of that is like dwindling down. I don't think they're I don't know personally because haven't gone to the region and talked to the people or anything like
Yeah.
that, but I think there's less anger about the whole
Okay.
situation and stuff. So
I think especially Euro hello Jethro. Anyway, you know Eurovision can be a little bit political, and sometimes they would send actually songs that are a little bit political, but um, they try it, they try enough to be vague so that it won't be seen as very political. And sometimes there are songs actually from Moldova that were sent that is kind of hinting that they want to reunify again with Romania, kind of because
yeah,
there are some songs who are like saying that we're different but we're still like one country or something like that.
yeah, no, that was the thing. Like I was saying, like at one point they did definitely want to do that, and
Mm.
I don't know the situation right now, um, because it's
Not
been a long
by the way,
time.
not Romania. I think Moldova is the poorer among the two.
Yeah, Moldova is definitely poor. I wouldn't say that I can't say for sure that it's the poorest country though, for
Mm.
sure also. So it's on the lower end there. Romania is actually their currency has gone up quite significantly over the
Mm.
years. In the last like when I was there, it was already going. It was going up while I was in the country. So it was like yeah, it was pretty interesting. Um, I think at one point it was what is it 5 lei or 6 lei, and then it went to 5 lei, which is like the lion or whatever. I'm saying the word wrong because it's like a Latinization, but it's just like their currency is called the lion or whatever. But it went up
Mm.
like a whole sixth while I was there, so it increased against the U.S. dollar that much while I was there, even, which is
It's
which it's not surprising really, but
it's not an autonomous region. I think it's a country on its own, Moldova and also Romania.
yeah, yeah, they had a referendum to join the EU, and at some point they'll also join the EU. I think it's like 2028 or something like that. They're supposed to join.
Yeah.
There's lots of economic packages they have to push through to make sure they align with the European Union's guidelines to
and
join.
and also I think it depends also on the politics because I I think the previous president from the current president right now is more on like Russian leaning. So when they will try to like when in a different election in the future, actually, if they will try to like vote again to like a Russian leaning kind of candidate, it might not be able to happen
Yeah,
like joining the EU
might
also.
kill the deal. Yeah, that's
Mm,
definitely true. That's a big portion of it. It's just like
mm,
recently, what is it? Orban in Hungary finally got
yeah.
ousted, and
Mm,
I don't know I'm not gonna say try and say the guy's name, but it starts with an M, like Mag. Oh, maybe I will, like Maguire or something, or I can't I
Jerry.
can spell it out.
Jerry
Is that his first name?
No,
Yeah.
I'm just
Oh,
joking.
McGuire. Oh, okay, okay, I gotcha. Yeah, but he's more pro European Union, I think, versus how Orban was and everything else,
I,
which is
I
beneficial for them.
the idea also is kind of like the Philippines actually, when like a current president ends his term and then another president will come in actually, and then if that next president is like not leaning to the past president, and then they won't continue again like the projects that have been started, and then it's another waste of money again. It's just irritating when that things happened actually.
Yeah. It is partially GDP, I think, and I think it's also partially uh, not purchasing power parity, but like individual income, as well
Mm,
as like meeting specific like guidelines for factories and business and everything. They have to align their laws with in accordance to EU, doctrine. Essentially, I think is
I
what it is
I
mostly.
think also it's this is for me. I'm just like thinking from the something. Anyway, I think it will also depend on how the economy works, because I don't know. They're using like the same currency, and if you're going to like level, you should level your economy also with the currency that you're using. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I get what you're saying a little bit because Romania, like I said, they're part of the European Union,
Mm,
and but they still don't use the euro there,
mm,
right? And it's been a long standing, like they've been pushing for them to transfer to the euro for a very long time, but it's a similar situation there, I think, where
mm,
they haven't met like a certain threshold that like if they transferred to the euro, that it wouldn't like kind of bottom either out their economy or the European Union's like the euro itself, right?
mm.
So that is a big portion of it. You can join the EU without changing your currency, but to then they do want you to be on a trajectory to change your currency to the euro. But if you are gonna wreck your economy by doing it or wreck their economy by doing it, it's probably it creates these blocks that you just can't do much about it, right? So like they were
Mm,
saying, like GDP is a big portion of it, right? That you have to
I see.
help somehow increase your GDP. I'm not like an expert on this. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that is a portion of it, right? So, which is important, right? You don't if all of a sudden you're using euros, but everything you buy is like the euro cent,
Mm,
it's gonna make things completely unaffordable for your country.
yeah.
And then you're gonna need relief packages from the union, which is gonna
Mm,
then affect the union, right? So
yeah.
it's a big thing. That's why it takes so long for these people to join and then transfer their currencies, I think. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you don't be a
Mm,
burden. So you don't need the relief packages from the European Union and things like that. That is a big portion of it. I think that's why partially that like Moldova at one point did want to join Romania back to Romania, is because like they just weren't doing super great economically in comparison to Romania. Because Romania started to rise up above their previous economic station or whatever else, so to speak. And Moldova was kind of like in a stagnant state. And then Romania didn't really want them to join back due to how they would have to now send money there to support
yeah.
that area. And it's common. I completely understand everyone's perspective in that. Uh, it's it's just it's about money a lot of the time and everything,
Yeah, that's true.
unfortunately.
Even actually with the fall of Yugoslavia, it's all about money also, because the first countries actually who like got out of Yugoslavia wanted to get out, because these countries like Slovenia are kind of helping the poorer regions because they're like
Mhm.
earning more. So they just decided actually to get out of Yugoslavia, because
Yeah,
it's kind of unfair for them, to like
to support
provide
support the whole region.
financial, yeah.
And
And
I completely
also with
understand that.
religion also. I mean, one part of like the fall of Yugoslavia is also religion.
Yeah, no,
They
big
have like,
yeah.
do you know the story of the fall of Yugoslavia? I'm just wondering.
Uh, was it it was, Bosnia or no, I'm thinking Bosnia, Herzegovina and stuff. That's before, right?
Bosnia, Croatia, I think,
Yeah.
North
No, I know a little bit
Macedonia.
about stuff like that.
Mm,
I knew, I knew someone that was in the Bosnian War when I was younger, actually, so I know a
mm,
little bit about some of that stuff. It seems to be, like, a lot of those things, like you said, are, like, economic or religious based, so
mm. Yeah, that's true also.
mhm. Yeah, I was reading that too. I was like, it's it's one of those things, like, when they're a smaller country, I feel like the EU has a better, chance of stabilizing the economy and stuff like that. They could very easily, through direct investment, you know what I mean, send,
Mm,
profitable businesses to the area and then hire the people and everything else like that. It would have to be some kind of, through education, you know what I mean? You educate the populace, you know what I mean, a little bit in certain areas where they can then export their skilled work to other areas, right? Or whether it be banking or finance or something like that. I I don't know why that there isn't more of that. I think that there probably is, but it's like, obviously manufacturing's on its way out, and it's hard to compete as a small nation with, like, larger ones. But if you, create skilled workers that do something like business finance, you know what I mean, even, like, research, because I think a big portion of, Romania's rise was actually in the tech sector, right? So a big
mm.
portion of how they got ahead was, investing in, education for tech industries, like cybersecurity and things like that, and then that helped propel them to a higher status economically because they're exporting, like, you know what I mean, analysts and things like that. So they're in country still, but they're, selling their services to someone outside the country, which brings in wealth from outside and then boosts the economy up. So I think that was a big portion. Like, so the EU could easily help, help do that. Direct investment into education of the population and stuff like that.
That's also like a bit. It's so hard actually to be like a country in Europe where most of the countries are already excelling very well, and it's kind of hard actually to like co- um you know level up with some other countries when these countries are already rich. And how
Yeah,
do you find the things that you have skills more of in competition with the other countries that are already so far ahead?
yeah, no, it definitely is the case. When you have that much of a head start, like, yeah, obviously, like Germany, France, the
Mm,
UK, they have had hundreds of years of like expansive growth through various like even through the monarchy and everything else like that for their
mm,
countries. And in the rapid industrialization of their countries in the early 1900s, that just set them so far apart. And then, it is harder for those other countries to then compete, you know, on a level playing field without, getting support somewhere else, right? That's, it is it's a very difficult game to figure out, especially now as like, modern life is advancing so fast with, like, things like AI and everything else. I'm not gonna, like, preach about AI, you know, whatever about that, but
mm.
even with those things, you know, it makes it the rapid pace of everything makes it much more difficult to, get these people in a position that will be aligned up with growth in the future. I think the predicting the future outcast of things is getting more and more difficult with stuff like that,
And
especially like
also I think
on that.
it also comes down also to the political agenda of the politicians that are running the country. If
Mhm.
that politician doesn't really care about the innovations and everything, how to improve your country, nothing will really happen. Like in the Philippines, when we try to like vote some politician who doesn't really care about his people, nothing really like happen drastically. Like right now, I have actually like an office mate who who said that he's just like voting for this person in the coming elections because she just wanted like to for this politician actually to get revenge. you know I was so furious because I shouted at her actually and told her that you're not really helping the country if your
No,
thinking is like that.
no, no, definitely not helping. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't wanna be like, "Just don't vote," but if you're not like, you gotta be, like, a little bit informed about, like, what these people are gonna do and why they're gonna do them, right? You don't have to know
Mm,
everything because it's impossible to keep up with this 24-hour news cycle and all the
mm,
speeches, especially when you work a job.
yeah.
But to have, like, some level of understanding of what your particular person you wanna vote for has is about is very important, I would say. So, yeah, oof. Like you were saying with, Moldova and stuff, the pro-Russian, yeah, that is a big
Mm,
portion of it too, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so
I I think it's like a big step backward if you're like, choosing someone actually doesn't really care about you. I mean, that's the frustration actually here in the Philippines when like this there are some people who are so fanatic with like a political plan. They're not uh, after how many terms, when the economy of your local you know area is not really doing well. I think it's time already to like let go of this politicians or like in the position for years, maybe decades actually. If it's not like doing anything in your area, I think it's time to let go. You need to wake up actually.
yeah, no, I agree with you, I do think that, politicians need a certain amount of time in office to effectively get the policy that they were trying to do done, you know what I mean?
Mm,
I question, like, the length of certain terms and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But I
mm.
do agree that people should not be in office more than 10 years, you know what I mean? Like, at that
I
point, like,
mean,
you've been there too long if
when
you
this
haven't
political
accomplished what you set
dynasty
forward.
when these political dynasties have been ruling for at least 50 years and it's not doing
Yeah.
anything, I think it's time to let go.
Yeah, exactly. When does the like, I'm not promoting, like, backlash voting where people vote just because they want that to be done or
Mm,
whatever, you know what I mean? Because maybe I'm not saying that, like, in this case that it is a good thing, but sometimes it is, you know? But, so I'm not advocating backlash voting, but when does it just, like, break? Like, where's the breaking point with that, you know what I mean?
mm.
Is there one? And why hasn't it happened already, right? If they're not accomplishing what they set out to.
I think it comes also with the character of the Filipino or resilient kind of. They're like really gaslighting the Filipinos most of the time that we are very resilient. So he would wait actually for us to suffer like the hardest suffering for us to wake up. I think because the idea of being resilient, resiliency, and it's not really a good thing. And
No, it's what like, what they call a sunk cost, right? You know, you got the sunk
mm,
cost fallacy. They've already spent all this time, invested all this, all the emotions, all the loss and stuff like that, like you're saying, like, they're very resilient, so they've endured all this already, so
mm,
they why would they, then forget all that
mm,
and try and go for a new bid and just cut their losses. You know, that's the thing. I think that's what a lot of it is, and I think, like you're saying, the politicians are really pressuring on that specific fact of their personalities, right?
Yeah. This politician says like giving you something, then it's fine. Yeah, we have like a low standard in politicians and picking for the right politician actually. But when it comes to beauty pageants, we will be strict. Yeah.
That that's the thing. You really should. I think that all people should be trying to figure out what is it that is going to. They should be a little more strict, like you said, with the beauty pageants, right? They should probably be monitoring that. You want you always want things to be better next time, right?
Yeah.
Like you always want it to get progressively better and better and better for people. I don't think that it's probably good for the country to not be like that. Yeah. To accept the bare minimum is just not acceptable to me. I
And
I
imagine
can't,
this
can't wrap my head
actually.
around it.
In the Senate, they're like planning actually to choose someone who haven't graduated college actually for like the education committee, which doesn't make sense. Why would you choose someone to chair an education committee? Give it to someone who hasn't even like finished his education. Like the irony of it all.
Do you do you think that maybe that is some kind of political strategy to admonish higher education in itself, though? Because now this person who has no formal education is a part of the education committee. Do you think that it's potential that that person might be utilized to push an agenda where
He can't
people shouldn't get education? You get what
he
I'm
can't
saying?
even even defend the laws that he has because he can't speak during debates. So how would we be able to push the laws that he's going to like create when you can't even speak during interpolation and defend your law?
No, no, I get that, but but then do you think that other people in the group, so in other politicians and stuff, might use him as like an example why education may not be a factor in growth? I'm thinking of him as like a political figurehead almost. You know what I mean? To push
Yeah,
a particular policy agenda.
yeah.
You think that's
He won
possible?
because he just won actually because he's an action star. And
Oh, I know who I remember talking to you about this a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, and he kind of used his being Muslim. I don't know if someone people will agree with me. He kind of used his being Muslim actually to get the Muslim votes because he's the only Muslim candidate who is like very popular during that time. So he got the
Mm.
Muslim votes also. And being like an action star, you have a retention, especially in the far flung areas, because they would know you.
Yeah.
And you need that kind of retention actually in order for us to win because there are areas here are not like reached by media and stuff.
Yeah.
So they would most of these people in these areas would actually just like vote for someone they know without
They know the
like
name
checking
exactly.
checking the backgrounds and the things that they have done in the past. So
They're already fresh in their mind, right? They're already the
yeah,
first in their mind, so, like, their
yeah,
perception automatically targets that one. They're like, "I
mm,
know this person, this must be the person that's best for the job." They
mm.
sit there and marinate, or they've already sat there and marinated a little bit for those people in that particular areas. Yeah.
Let me give you an idea of how the Senate are being run right now. So in the Senate, there are at least 24 senators, right? So in the current 24 senators, we have three action stars. We have um, uh, three pairs of siblings. So already part of a political dynasty. Um, it's so hard. So how just the idea of like when you're a senator, you're representing like a specific group of people. But how are you? Who are these action stars representing when they are already three in the Senate? Who are the people who are being represented by these siblings? Three pairs of siblings already from the
Mhm.
same city. So that's how it works here in the Philippines. It's just so
It
frustrating.
it is that is a it's an alarming, it's alarming for sure. I don't know if that is, best for the country for sure. I can't I don't know, like, all their policies or anything, like, about it specifically, but it is alarming when, you don't have, like, the either the education or the background to do
Mm,
that. Uh, I don't know. It reminds me of you know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, right?
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he was, like, the governor of California. So this one,
California.
he's
Yeah.
not like a it's not a great example. I think that he was
Mm,
actually a good governor, but
mm,
it is something you have to be, like, concerned about for sure, that they will do the due diligence to, meet the needs of their constituents in,
yeah.
in the areas that they're involved in, right? I I, uh I would be very concerned too. I don't know how you would, exactly direct the public, especially considering of the lack of connectivity in certain areas there.
Mm,
So, it's one of those things, that the locals would have to figure out, maybe, doing going to certain areas and campaigning on behalf of, other, politicians, basically. You basically have to go to those far-flung areas and canvass the area explaining the situation and the policies and stuff like that. You'd have to go beyond, the internet and traditional media and have to do, like, footwork. That's basically the only way you could do it, it seems like.
he- Here's another problem also. Even if you're going to the far-flung areas, when there's kinda an innate hate already for a specific side of the party. So even if you're going to like bring, your plans uh, to the people, actually, when they hate you, they will not even listen to you already. If your dreams are like so good, but then again they hate you because of fanaticism, nothing will happen. Yeah, it's just art.
I think that at that point, it's a presentation issue. You don't present it as, like, you're the opposite party.
Mm,
You talk about, like, the policy you talk only about the policy right at first. You're like, "This is the policy." You express policies that would benefit them in a positive
mm,
way and see how they respond to it, you know what I mean? And then you explain the particular candidate you're talking about, you know what I mean? You don't,
mm,
talk negatively about the candidate that they like, right? So you're
yeah.
not aggravating their aggression or anything like that, and you're only, explaining policy that they can, get behind and understand.
Mm,
Don't It's not good to I'm not saying mislead them, but and then, once you've done explain that policy to them, you, explain how that particular candidate will help that policy and benefit them in their area, right?
yeah.
It's there is a way to do it. It's just gotta be like this really extreme roundabout way, I think.
Yeah. It,
Yeah,
with the with the with the coming of the internet also and social media, it's kind of hard also to control everything, since the like most of the people will just like believe anything that they see actually in social media without even actually confirming if it's true or not. And Yeah, it's hard actually. Like social media is like a double-edged sword, and it's hard to control when like a wrong information is already disseminated. Is Yeah, as I've said earlier, everything is so frustrating here. We need like a complete total change, maybe actually like
Just
to
an overhaul of
control,
the system,
yeah, a
right?
complete overhaul of everything. I
Better
always
control
mention that
mechanisms.
I always mention that it's really better actually to start from scratch again, and then have people run actually on to politics that are not really related to any political affiliation or something, because it's just like going again and again, with the same party, with the same agenda actually. Do you know we have like a party list system? Do you have any idea about it? I'm just wondering.
Partless system. What do you mean?
So there's a congress, right, and they're like representative. So aside these representatives, hello, these representatives are from the different like province. Okay. Aside from that, we have representatives um, from what we call the party list. They're supposed to represent those people who have no voice. Like for example, there's a party list for like jeepney drivers. There's a party list for like vendors. But then again, these representatives from this party list are not really from like the vendors and the jeepney drivers. They're just
Right.
from another
Okay.
political dynasty for most of the time. Hi.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but yeah, no, no, I'm talking about what he commented there. Yeah, no, that happens a lot, right? So certain one group will basically say that they're representing someone particular that
Yeah,
they're really not, right?
yeah.
That's no good either. Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't know that. No. I think that happens here too, very, very often. You see it with like usually it's like disabled groups and things like that. It'll be like
Mm,
some able person who doesn't really have any relatives that are like that or anything like that, and then we'll try and speak for those people. I
yeah.
think that it's starting to be less so. We
Mm,
are starting to get like individual champions of groups. That's the thing. A lot of the time, you have to like it has to be self-instituted, right? So like
mm,
someone from the that drives a jeepney in this case would have to be willing to stand up and do, do the time. You know what I mean? Basically, do the time to and maybe it'd have to be pro bono. Maybe they could. I don't want to say unionize exactly, but maybe they could. The jeepney drivers all could pitch in to pick their like basically some form of democracy in itself, right?
mm,
So they elect their head guy, and then that person would be the one that would represent them, right? In
yeah.
those cases.
We have also one senator recently, actually. He has a warrant of arrest actually from the ICC because he is like a co-perpetrator for the drug war of the previous president. So
Oh, no.
like last year, after getting like a rumor that he has already um, a warrant, he went on hiding. So he didn't went to like the Senate for almost 6 months, and he's still getting paid.
Yeah, that's probably not acceptable. I uh I I I don't know. I that one that blows my mind a little bit. You probably should not get paid if you don't show up after so long. It's like in a normal job, you
Yeah,
use your put some
yeah.
proceedings forward for like a removal from office at the very least, and a new election should have taken place, right?
How
Or like
does
his
that happen to
incumbent
you?
takes place.
Does that happen to you also in the U.S.? Do senators like go to went on being absent for that long? Does it happen? What are the repercussions of going being absent for a long time? Do you have an idea?
I honestly don't know. I think that it's very common. It's not very common that happens. It's not really common that happens. I think every so often someone will get like cancer or something like that
Mm,
because we do have very old politicians and stuff, or they'll have some serious medical issue. But
mm,
I don't think it's like maybe like a month or so that they'll
mm.
like not be in office or whatever else. But it's not. I don't think it's super common. I don't think it's super common. So
And also,
I
how
don't
does
know.
the term works there in being a senator? Because like people like who's that old guy from the Democratic Party actually?
Which
Like the
one?
old guy, uh, Sanders, Bernie Sanders is
Oh,
so old
Bernie
already.
Sanders.
How many terms does one senator have actually to like work as a senator?
I don't know if there's a limit on that,
Yeah,
actually.
it's just
He has been senator
yeah,
forever.
that's
He was
why
old before. There might be
because
a
here
limit
in
on
the
that,
yeah,
but I don't know.
he's so old already. I've been seeing him for like a long time, even during Obama's term, and he's still a senator until now, which is so
And he was like
interesting.
a lawyer and a judge before that.
Mm,
So he was always in politics in some fashion.
mm.
Okay, so there's a 12-year limit.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So there is a limit. I was like, I knew that it wasn't the same as a presidency. I just had to
mm,
like verify that. I think what is it, 2-year terms?
mm.
They or every 2 years it's a 4 I think it's a 4-year term, but every 2 years it's on a
Oh yeah,
rotating schedule, so like half of
yeah.
them will get rotated out. So
I see.
yeah, it's weird. I'll be honest, I don't know enough about my own government that I as much as I should about my own government. But House of Representatives, there's like 400 and I want to say 39, but I think it's more now because resectioning like 487 or something like that.
Are they being paid a lot?
Oh, okay. So they're elected to 6-year terms, and every 2 years, the members of one class, approximately one-third of senators, face election or re-election. So it's 6 year term. I
Mm,
didn't. Yeah, I
I
was
see.
off. I knew that. I know the like the sliding
Every
schedule thing, but
6 years for like three consecutive. Yeah, this is that how it works?
so every 6 years, and then every 2 years, they rotate one of
Uh,
the one third of the senators out.
mm,
That makes it a little confusing sometimes. I think for me, that's why I don't really like. I haven't focused on this since like second grade. Probably they teach you in like
I see.
second grade, but yeah, I knew that every 2 years thing. I couldn't remember the exact term length, but a lot of those people can then I think that you can then go to another state and be a senator
Mm.
from another state. I don't know how there's like weird legal workarounds a lot of the time, and that's like part of
Do
the
you
problem.
do you need
I'm not
to
a
be a
politician.
resident? Do you need to be a resident for quite some time in like a state in order for you to run again for like senator if you come from a different state?
I I th- I think so. I can't remember. I know you have to be a resident. I don't know the exact length of time. I would assume it's something like 5 years, but again, that's getting
Oh,
in the weeds with
I
politics. I really don't
here
know. It
here in the
might not be at
Philippines
all.
you here in the Philippines you just need to be like a resident for 6 months and then you can run. So
See,
that's why
I don't know.
most politicians here would buy like a property in each town so that they could like run again if their term ends. Actually they could run for a different position in a different town already. That's how, that's how politics works here, and that's how they would even monopolize the politics in like a province, because all of their relatives and family members are have positions in all of the towns in each of the province. And when they have already monopolized the politics, no one can really like run against you, because they have already like the machineries, and money actually, to like play the politics in their area.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to a lot of the time is money. I looked it up and I was right. You only have to be a resident at time of election. It doesn't matter how long you've
Oh,
been. You don't have to have been there. But yeah, no,
I see.
it does come down to money a lot, and I think that is why that we do see these dynasties like we're talking about. It does happen here, even in America,
Mm,
on every level of government. So it's like local, state, regional, state. You know what I mean? Federal. It's all of them, and I think that it's very common. That's why
I see.
even if it's not like politics, it'll be like business, right? So like it'll be like
Yeah.
that's why you get like people's like family names on businesses because they
Mm,
just been doing it forever, and
I
there's
see.
no way to. We talk about this thing like capitalism and stuff, right?
Mm,
Which I agree with capitalism, but it's like capitalism means that there's fair competition, and unfortunately, there seems to be less and less of it as people consolidate power.
I
And
see.
I think that you're seeing a very strong form of that there in the Philippines, probably because they know the
Yeah.
games that they have to play. They are very intimately uh, involved, at least in the knowledge of what they have to do to get elected. They may not know
Mm,
exactly how to lead, but they know how to get power and retain it. So that's more that's not so much a problem as long as you do accurately are very good at leading, right? If you're a good leader, it's okay to know how to hold and retain power, but if you're not a good leader, it's terrible for everyone in the country. So
that's true. Somehow it's also like related to capitalism when someone runs here, especially because it's easier actually to like make your business bigger when you already have the power. Actually, it's easier to process permits and things like that if you
and
are
keep
in
other
power.
businesses out.
Yeah. Mm,
Like we're talking about with the Jollibees and stuff. I completely
yeah.
understand. You get the permits and you get everything filed properly and quickly, and then you can also deny the permits and everything else for other people. And yeah, I
And
completely agree with you. It does happen a
somehow
lot.
it also like ruins small businesses.
It
Kinda,
is not
you're
good
not
for 'em.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, you're not really helping after
Mhm.
all.
I agree with you. We have this thing called private equity in America, which is this like kind of I mean, I don't like hate it for the its own sake, but when it's the problem is that it does destroy wealth, not so much create wealth. It has been very good at destroying wealth for people, and then only a few people somehow take. They don't even take the full amount that was being generated. You know,
Mm,
if they were maintaining the level of wealth generation that they destroyed, it'd be like one thing. You know what I mean? Because it'd be flowing through the economy somehow. But they're destroying some level of wealth and consolidating it and taking a smaller chunk of the overall wealth. So eventually, this
mm,
money on top evaporates right out of the system, which is just
I
bad
see.
for the whole country. Um, but yeah, that's a subject for another day. We can talk about private equity some other time.
Yeah. I'm just
This
wondering
has been a
also,
good. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, what's the poorest state?
Oh man, Michigan's in the top 10 for the poorest. But
Oh,
I would have
Michigan is
to
a
say
poor state.
no, it's not the
I
poorest state, but it's in the
uh,
top 10.
I
I
see.
it rotates. It rotates a lot. I want to say somewhere like West Virginia. That's what people always say. I don't think so. I've been to lots of states, and it depends on what you qualify as poor. You know what I mean? Because
Mm,
like you could make very little money in America, but also have this amazing house. It
Mm,
is
that's
nice and things like that. So it's like money. It's kind of like skewed. It's each
mm,
state is kind of like its own country sometimes with its
I
own.
see.
We all run on the dollar, but how much your purchasing power parity is really varies. So think certain things cost more in certain areas due to like logistical shipping of items and things like that. So it's like on paper it might say one thing, but it might not actually be accurate at all. So
if, if you're like given an opportunity to like grow up in a different state, or would you better like stay where you are?
if Michigan had tracked the trajectory it was tracking like 30 years ago when I was born,
Mm,
like if it had stayed where it was at when I was born,
I see.
I would have stayed in Michigan because Michigan was
Mm,
one of the wealthiest states for a long time there.
mm,
When I was born, it was it was like, and then now we went from like the top 25 states or whatever. So like, I don't think we ever hit the top 10. Maybe we did,
mm,
but since I've been alive, we have literally dropped to nearly the fucking bottom.
I
So
see.
I would definitely, if I going off the numbers now, yeah, I would have been born. I would rather have been born in lots of other states,
Mm.
for various reasons. I
Would
think we have
you,
like a great state, but
yeah, would you rather like, do you think, what do you think actually? Would you rather be born in like a red state or a blue state? What do you think is your preference? What is better? I mean, just like an opinion or something.
don't really care. For me, it's not so much about politics. It's like we're talking about.
Mm,
It is are the people taken care of in an appropriate fashion and things like that,
mm,
right? You know what I mean? Are
yeah.
things affordable and are people treating each other like even the common citizen? Are is it instilled into the common citizen by the government that you behave in a certain fashion to your fellow citizen, right? You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Mm,
That's what I care about. I care less about uh, the particular party that I do than I do about the original doctrine of the country, about like the right to freedom and the right to self-expression and things like that. You know what I mean? So like that
mm,
you help out your neighbors and things, stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's more what I
I
care
see.
about. I care less about a particular party and their agenda, you know what I mean, than I
I see.
do the country prosper and that the people be good people, right? That's
Yeah.
that's that's what I care about. So
Yeah.
it's less about a particular party, um, and that every party has a hot button issue and stuff, and that's going to make people fight. But
Mm,
America was founded on the idea that you could basically do whatever you want as long as you weren't hurting somebody else. That's what I've
mm,
always believed, and that you were free to do that's what I'm saying. You basically are free to do whatever you want, as
yeah, yeah.
long as you're not a piece of shit. And I don't think
That's
that's
true.
like really hard to do, right? But unfortunately, it seems to be that we're on this stead. People talk about like moral decline a lot, and I don't think it's so much a moral decline. I think that it's just the behavioral assessment of self and stuff, and how you attenuate that to others. So whatever, it seems to be like a big king of the hill situation out here.
I see.
So I think that's common a lot
Uh,
of places right now.
what do you want to talk about next week? Actually, this is
Um,
like a good conversation. You know,
it is,
we
it
have
is.
we
It doesn't matter to me. I'm game for
yeah,
anything always. I'll do a little look in and we'll let
we
the
haven't
conversation
really
wander there.
we haven't really tackled the timeline for like the Sarah Duterte and like um Marcus, which is like a good kind of story. Actually, it's like Game of Thrones. Have you read like the things, like
I
how
have read the book.
they were like a tandem when they started, and then suddenly everything fell off.
Yeah, I've read the books so of the Game of Thrones
Yeah,
and stuff. Um, I we can go back to this if you like, and then we
yeah,
can
it's
do a
fine.
more formalized version of this because we did kind
This
of get
is
kind of sidetracked.
This is like the good thing about this actually. We can still like we don't like stay in one lane. Like it's a good thing, I think. Anyway, thank
I
you
think
so much, Dorian. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no problem.
What do you
I
think?
think a lot of these things intersect, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing, like,
Mm,
they share similarities, and, doing comparative analysis on information is good. It
mm,
gives you a wider perspective of what's going on. It
yeah,
gets you out of your little bubble, right? So,
yeah.
but yeah, no, thank you,
Have a
next
great
time.
day, Dorian. I hope
I'm
you
going to.
like. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.